Dear listener, can you imagine going about your normal day trying to complete your first paper route, only to be thrown into the future where people with guns are chasing after you, you run into your older self, and you suddenly start your period but none of your friends can tell you how to use a tampon? Yeah, it's a pretty wild story, but it's exactly what happens in the new Amazon Prime TV show, Paper Girls. We truly hope these girls find a way back home in time to deliver those papers. Sincerely, the Shrinking Violets.
Hi, this is April,
And this is Lourdes.
and we're the Shrinking Violets.
And this is chapter 21, our Paper Girls review. Paper Girls. So we're going to be answering some questions that April has made for us. And in that way, we're going to tell you if you should watch it or not.
Yeah. We have 10 questions that we can answer.
Yeah.
Some of them I feel that I kind of catered them more to you. Because you haven't you haven't read the comics or the graphic novels. So if you have or have not read it, and if you've seen the show and you're planning to see the show, some of the things are going to be like you might know what we're talking about here, but maybe not over here. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I think so.
Okay, so the first one is, what were your initial thoughts going into the show? What did you think it was going to be about, or what did you feel it was going to be like?
So I didn't have too much of an idea of what it was about because I kept skipping all the trailers because I wanted to be surprised. So all I knew is the little things you have said. So all I thought it was some futuristic weird story from the first second of the trailer because I kept skipping it. And then when I saw the first episode, what I thought was it felt very low budget, but not in a bad way. And then the girls in the mystery intrigued me to keep going. So those were my first initial thoughts.
For me, I had already read the graphic novels, so I kind of expected it to be exactly like that, or at least, trying to be. You always hope that it's going to be like what you read, right?
Yeah.
And then I also kind of thought, like, it's not getting that much hype. So I also thought it's gonna be kind of low budget. And I was scared because I already knew how intense and how visually and I guess visually intense it is in the comics. And I'm like, if they don't have that much money to make the special effects and things like that, then I'm not sure how it's going to be. And then the second one is, should people read the graphic novels or the comics, and how is it different than the comics, graphic novels? So I guess I can talk about that because you haven't read it yet. And I think that you don't need to read them because it's really, the first episode is probably the closest to what you can read. But other than that, everything else is pretty much new, or a lot of it is added. And I kept on trying to think back to, this is exactly what it was in like volume 1 or volume 2. And then after the episodes, I kept on watching the episodes. It's just too much. Like, I knew I should just stop because it it wasn't close to what I had read.
Yeah. In a good way or a bad way?
I want to say good way.
Okay.
I liked a lot of the things in the comics, but it was I don't know, I guess, and I think my answer is going to be answered in the next question, in the next few questions that I'll ask.
Okay.
But do you have to? No, you don't have to. But if you really like the sci-fi kind of parts of it, then I would say yes,
Okay. 'Cause I was wondering,
Yeah.
and not yeah, I kind of do want to pick it up.
Okay. Okay. So the third one is the show is set in different time periods, the 80s being one of them. The show might first come off as another 80s kids on bikes show like Stranger Things.
Yeah.
How would you compare it to Stranger Things, and does it even compare?
So, I mean, the only comparisons really are that these kids kind of have a 80s state of mind. So how kids think in the 80s is how these kids think too.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's kids at the forefront trying to solve a mystery that they were just thrown into. So those I would say would be the biggest comparisons between the two. Other than
Yeah.
that, I mean, there's the whole sci-fi thing, and yeah, they're pretty similar, but not really.
Right? Yeah, I think a lot of I think it, like I had said, it did come out at a good time in the
Mhm.
sense that people really love Stranger Things, so they might think that it's the same kind of idea,
Mhm.
but it's not a rip off of the show.
Yeah.
Um, and it has its own obviously plot and story, and it doesn't really, like you said, doesn't really compare too much
No.
other than just the surface level kind of, kids
Yeah, and
solving some sort of thing or going on an adventure.
yeah, and the with Stranger Things, the backdrop is in the 80s, whereas this, since they're going back and forth through time, the backdrop isn't a big the 80s is not a big part of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
um Fourth question, who is your favorite character and why?
So my favorite character was Mac because so she appears to be like this angry, troubled kid, but what I liked most about her is that she still shows that she can care for her friends, when especially when they need help. I it just it was adorable seeing her, how she treated Aaron and how she treated KJ at times, like knowing that she's that kind of person and how she treats them when they are were most vulnerable. That was adorable.
Yeah, I also like those kind of characters that seem very tough,
Mm-hmm.
but at some point you see that they're the most like caring,
Yeah.
or the ones that at some point show the most emotion, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
But my favorite was KJ.
Mm-hmm.
She was kind of my favorite
The
in
book.
the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I like her character more here.
Yeah.
I think I liked her in the book because I just thought she was kind of like cool the way, she would fight with her hockey stick.
Yeah.
um but in this one, it, I you just have more of a story that I think I just liked.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I guess that leads to the next question,
Yes.
and I think that was, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part, and it goes back to Mac being my favorite character, is when she finds her brother in the future and they connect. From things she has said, it felt like they didn't really get along as kids, but I felt like, knowing her past, that she had cancer and all that, there was a wall that was taken down between them,
Mm-hmm.
and they were able to connect years later. And it was just so heartwarming and also heartbreaking because she had to leave him.
Yeah, honestly, I think that is one of my favorite, I guess, like episodes.
Yeah.
The one where she gets to connect with her brother,
Yeah.
because you have a understanding that she didn't have a good life as a child,
Mm-hmm.
or it wasn't the best,
Yeah.
and it could have been where the how she said that the brother was kind of mean to her and
Yeah.
would pick on her and stuff like that, but you can tell that the love was still there.
Yeah.
uh especially like from her, like she looked up to him. And I just liked their kind of storyline, and that's something that wasn't in the comic. Yeah, they the whole brother thing was totally just added in the show. Yeah, and the same thing with KJ. That wasn't a part of it either. I mean, you kind of get she kind of we find out that she has a vision actually, where I don't even know if I should say it because but she's kissing someone. And that's where she kind of finds out, and she does freak out a little bit in the book, but it's not really something that's so important. I think. And in this part, she finds out by seeing herself with like her older self with a girlfriend. And I did like the part where she kind of she talks to the girlfriend and she asks, how do I, how did you know that you were into films, quote unquote, but it's into girls. So that's also completely new. KJ doesn't really see herself, her future self in the book. And then of course, Mac, she does find out that she's going to die. But and so she doesn't get to see her 16-year-old self in the book either. So the only ones that really do get to is Tiff and Aaron. So I think that those added parts were good because you get to see a story from each character.
And I have an honorable mention of a scene that I liked, and we talked about this. It's when Erin got her period, and she was the girls were trying to help her figure that out. That was so heartbreaking, but also very relatable in the way where, like, as a kid, as a girl, before you get your period, you really don't know how to navigate that until you get it. And the girls had nobody to tell them how, because none of them have had it. That was
right. And I mean, the good thing is that at least we get health classes, or we get taught a little bit. At least for me, and it was in elementary school, so it kind of we all knew, but you don't really know until it happens. And it is true, we talk about it, it's normal. So and I don't think that I've seen a conversation that long about it on TV. And I hope that there was kind of like jokes thrown in there, but also it's a serious thing, and it, like you said, it is kind of sad because they didn't have anybody. So I hope that if there's young girls watching the show, they kind of relate to. And then the next one is the focus of the show is more than just time traveling and getting wrapped up in the time war. A lot of it has to do with the girls' personal journeys and internal struggles with who they become when they are older. What do you think about this part of the plot? And should the show stick to more fun action scenes and sci-fi elements, or is this just as equally important?
So I think it is equally important, because this is the aspect of the show that kind of humanizes the girls for us. It gives them, it shows us their personality in the way where how they think of their future selves. The only thing I didn't like was how some of the encounters were like a bit longer or just annoying. For example, Tiff constantly arguing with her older self, to me, was kind of annoying. That's the only gripe I have. But I like this aspect because it's kind of like a coming of age. A weird, very strange coming of age, because they're learning about themselves through their future, and that's like, when have you ever seen that anywhere?
I think it is like a coming of age with the fast forward pressed,
Yeah.
because you kind of they kind of have to grow up really quickly, and the way that they grow up is by seeing themselves, their future selves,
Yeah.
which is weird because I can't even think about, like, obviously I've changed since I was little.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I would react when seeing myself.
Yeah.
I probably, and it is relatable in the sense that, you know, they all don't have some sort of perfect life that
Yeah.
they thought that they would.
Yeah.
And I think when you're young, you think, it's gonna be better when I'm older.
Yeah.
And it doesn't things don't turn out the way that you thought they would.
No.
And so I think I like that part, and I do want to warn that if don't expect that in the book.
Yeah.
That's really not a, a big deal in the book.
Oh. Yeah.
And I think that's why I really liked, like how you said, they humanize the girls,
Yeah.
and they're more than just cool, really super cool girls.
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
they're going through all these things. And I also didn't like Tiff's
Yeah.
storyline.
Yeah.
I found her to be super annoying. Like,
Yes.
also Aaron, like, cut yourself some slack,
Yes.
and
I was
both of
so
them.
mad at how mean she was being towards her future self. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, that's so
Yeah.
mean.
Especially because you can tell how kind of like nurturing
Yeah.
older selves are to their younger selves.
Mhm.
And there's those kind of TikTok videos that say, if you're mad at yourself, just remember you're being mad at, and then they show pictures of when you were
Younger.
little.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, that always kind of like makes me sad, because
Yeah.
it's true.
true.
Like, you beat yourself down now as an adult, and you think about all, like, how you were when you were little, and you wouldn't want anyone talking to your little self
Yeah.
that way,
Yeah.
and so it's so different, because now it's like the younger selves being so, like,
Harsh.
mean and
Yeah.
harsh to an older self, and it's like, you don't know what happened to you in those years,
Mhm.
and you're looking at it, and I mean, I'm someone who gives credit to teenagers more than I think maybe some adults do,
Yeah.
because I know that there are teenagers, like, their feelings are important too,
Mhm.
but we also know that their brains aren't fully developed.
Yeah.
And um and I think that for me, it would be so frustrating, and it was frustrating to watch, and I just wanted to be like, you don't know, okay? You don't
Mhm.
know what happened.
No. And these are middle schoolers. Like,
Yeah.
why
And
are they
it's
so
kind of like
harsh? Yeah.
like I kind of wanted to be like, okay, like, just shut up, because
Yeah.
you have no
Especially with Tiff.
idea.
Tiff got
Yes.
into arguments, and that was hard
Yeah,
to watch.
exactly. It was quite annoying, and she came
Yeah.
off as too kind of smug,
Yeah. A little too
um
yeah.
yeah. But I mean, I still like her character, and I
Mhm.
understand what they're trying to do,
Yes.
but that it did come off that way.
Yeah.
And then, so the next question is, what did you think about the quality of the show in terms of the special effects and the visuals?
So I could tell, and I'm sure anyone can tell, that it was a bit lower budget, but I wasn't too bothered. Um, the only thing that really bothered me was towards the end, the purple sky that was like for like almost the whole episode did get a bit annoying to my eyes after a while. But like there was a big dinosaur, and it was not as great, but I wasn't bothered.
Yeah, you know how it felt like the special effects of Doctor Who,
Uh-huh.
and I just kept telling myself, you like Doctor Who, like, in those special effects, it doesn't really bother you,
Yeah.
and it does come off kind of cheesy,
Yeah.
So just go with that.
Yeah.
It's fine. Just accept it.
Yeah.
And again, there probably wasn't that much of a budget for it anyway. So I think for being what it is, it was pretty good. It was okay.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
I didn't mind it too much.
Yeah.
And I see that they were really trying for it to give the look of that the book did.
Yes.
So, and it's honestly, it's really, I knew going into it that I'm like, I don't understand how they're going to do this because the book is so over the top. And yeah, and even from like the dinosaur, that part, the pterodactyl or looking thing, that part is in the book, but they also fight these what's it called, I don't know what they're called. Let me see. I think they're well, they're like water bears. You know what those are?
Water bears?
Yeah.
Are they mythological or
no, it's like a really tiny like microorganism, I don't kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to put the picture somewhere or something.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm like, how is that? And it's obviously huge. That thing is blown up huge because of the time rift or whatever.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, how are they going to do that in the show?
Yeah.
There's just so many things that I was thinking, how?
Yeah.
Like, is it possible? Yes, but that means that they really needed a big budget for it.
Yeah.
So again, it was fine. They did what they could.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, like, how can they have that but not have but how can they not have that but then they have a mecha, and the mecha didn't look too bad either.
It did not. That actually was one of the better things.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Oh, I wrote it down. Yeah, it's a tardigrade. If you know what that means, but
no clue.
Okay, I think if I show it to you, you'll understand what it is. So we can move on to the next question, and that is, what did you think about the actors?
Yes. So, there are two actors that stood out to me.
Okay.
KJ's character, the person who played KJ and the person who played Mac, but mostly KJ. She kind of blew me away. I don't know why. I could just feel that she was really good at what she was doing. And fortunately, I didn't feel the same way for the other two girls. But hopefully they improve. But I did in that way. I did compare it to Stranger Things, in where the acting ratio of good to bad is basically like the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also liked KJ's, and I actually didn't think that Erin's was that like lackluster. I thought that she was pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially, I think it really helped maybe to have like Ali Wong as somebody who she interacted with.
Yeah.
Because for example, the scene when they're in the bedroom and they're talking, having like that deep conversation.
Yeah.
I really liked that part, and I thought that she did good during that scene.
This is true. Yeah.
And then the other, they're kind of like the one that played Larry. I've seen him before.
Yeah.
And then I don't know who the Tiff, like the older Tiff. Yeah, I wasn't sure. And then what is it? The grandfather? What's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen him before too.
Yeah, I don't know.
He usually does comedy, which
yeah.
kind of made sense for his character because the grandfather in the book does come off kind of weird, kind of.
I don't know what you would call that. It's like sarcastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He definitely like that.
Yeah.
And number 9.
Yes.
Is there something that was missing or that you would have changed?
I don't know because I haven't read the books.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that's missing. So I can't really say too much. And I also feel that it still might happen,
Uh-huh.
especially
Things that's
one
missing. Okay.
kind of thing. I feel like that is going to happen,
Yeah.
but I probably shouldn't say it because I don't
It
want
can
to ruin
happen.
it.
What
Yeah.
question, what like where it ended, did it end like on a certain book or like how many books was this season or if you know?
Um, it's it just went off.
It went off. It's
Yeah,
hard to say.
so it's really can't no, because a lot of the things that happened,
Mm-hmm.
there's like, oh, there's little snippets of that in the book, like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I think they're trying to do this, and it's different parts, different volumes.
Yeah.
So I don't think that I can't really say that
Okay.
what will happen. I honestly don't know. And that leads us to the last question, and that is
Yeah.
if you have any theories about what will happen.
Yeah. So where we left off is they each go in a different pod. So
Mhm.
KJ is with Mac and Aaron is with Tiff, and we only see Tiff and Aaron. Sorry, yes, Tiff and Aaron drop into the 50s. It looks like, right?
Yeah, the 50s.
So my hope is that they find Mac and KJ in the same time period. Because what if they went to a different time period? And my theory is that they will run into someone from the time people that can help them. Because like, how else are they gonna get back? They don't have. They don't have. Well, yeah, they don't have the knowledge of navigating this thing. I don't know. So that's my hope is that they're gonna find someone. The only sucky part is that the person who has been helping them would probably be a child right now. So in the 50s. So I have no clue what's gonna happen.
Yeah, this whole 50s thing is not
Not
a part
okay.
of the book, so I have no
Okay.
idea. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. I really don't have an idea what's
No
gonna
theories.
happen. Nope. And like I said, there's a part where that might happen, but I don't. There's two that I know probably will.
Okay. Okay.
And I just won't say anything.
And
God.
question. So you read the books, right? How many
Yeah.
books did you read, and was that the end, or are there going to be more books?
I think that there was six,
Uh
and
huh.
that's the end.
Ooh, okay. So
Yeah.
you have read everything.
Yes.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
because it's so different,
Yeah.
I feel like I don't really know
What's gonna happen?
what's gonna happen.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
That's so weird
Uh,
to me.
I
Cause I
know.
guess because I was, we were watching Heartstopper, and it's so close to the books.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I like I said, I think I have like a very kind of
Vague.
like an outline of
Yeah.
the way it'll go,
Yeah.
but I can't really be for sure.
Yeah. And did the books have like a good, satisfying ending?
Yeah, like it felt kind of,
Resolved?
yeah, in the sense that how a movie does,
Mm-hmm.
how it's kind of these kids they go on this adventure thing and then all of a sudden boom, back to normal, kind of.
Okay.
That's kind of how it felt.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it was fine for me.
Like it was resolved, but not in the grander scheme of things.
It's not yeah, it wasn't like a whoa, how crazy.
Oh, it's like when you go to like the Wizard of like you go into what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
right?
what you're trying to say.
Or like when you go into Narnia, but then you come back.
Yeah, kind of
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did have some extra notes about like as I was watching the episodes.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the things is that the future people,
Yeah.
they actually they speak different, and I think you kind of got that from the show.
Yes.
You can hear them kind of using like a recorder or something like that. I
Yeah.
don't know if you caught that.
Kind of like this. Their
Like a
voices sound
translator.
distorted.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was like a translator that is in the book.
Okay.
But when you're reading also how the grandfather and that one lady in with the white
Yeah.
and everybody else in the future, how they talk,
Yeah.
you're reading it kind of a mix of like old English
Uh huh.
slash some sort of future English.
So does that imply that they came from like way, way farther back,
I think
or?
that's just how English has evolved into in the
Oh, okay.
future.
Yeah.
And when you're reading the comic, like sometimes I got the gist of what they were saying,
Mm-hmm.
but it was honestly hard to read. It was kind of
Really?
confusing. Yeah.
Mm.
So they obviously they could not do that maybe
Yeah.
in the show for the
Yeah.
sake of for you understanding what's happening.
Yeah.
Another thing is that Mac obviously says homophobic things and anti-Semitic
Yeah.
in the show, right?
Yeah.
But in I don't remember there being anti-Semitism on from her part
Yeah.
in the book,
Yeah.
but definitely like homophobic
Yeah.
um,
I
slurs.
do like that they point that out. Like, hey, that's not okay.
Yeah, and I know that some people were saying that it wasn't necessary,
Yes. Mm.
but I mean they try I think like they're trying to go with how the book was, and I think that the show actually addressed it better than it was addressed in the book.
Okay. Because these
At
are 80s kids who think
yes,
that that's okay to say.
yeah,
Well, at
and
least Mac did.
in terms of putting in an end to that and calling her out
Mm-hmm.
for it.
Yeah.
And I also liked Erin with the like kind of struggling how she points out that she does a lot more for her family
Yeah.
than the other girls might, and
Yeah.
I think it comes a lot with first generation or yes,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, of taking care of those your elders or your even your parents,
Yeah.
in the sense that you kind of do things for them because they're not English speakers
Uh-huh.
or as proficient.
Yeah.
And I think I like that added element to it because that's
Me too.
something that I think we can relate to.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. And then let's see. I also wanted to say that I don't know if it seems like it flowed to you,
Uh-huh.
the from going from one scene to the next.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in the book, it was kind of disorienting, in the sense that you're kind of, like I said, you kind of just thrown into this world, or the way that the things happen,
Yeah.
and you're not explained as to what is happening.
Uh-huh.
And it to me it was kind of hard to get into,
But
and I
yeah.
just had to accept that this is all very logical.
Yeah.
like the time traveling isn't it's
Explain.
not explained. Yeah,
Oh. Well,
I
that's
don't know how
annoying.
to yeah I don't know how to convey
Yeah.
how weird the book
Yeah.
is.
Interesting. So from what
Yeah.
I'm hearing is is that the show is better.
In the sense that it's more emotional.
Yeah.
If the book is like cool, it's look at all this cool stuff,
Yeah.
look at all this wacky stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not, you don't really get as into the characters and the personal lives and their emotions and everything.
Yeah.
So that's cool that they did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially like the last episode. I think that one was the looniest episode.
It was
And imagine the whole series being that way.
being that way. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense
That's
because
kind of how the book is, how
that felt
loony it is.
it felt almost out of place how weird it got towards the
Yeah.
end. And I'm like, wait, but things are actually happening here. I wonder how the books are, because I'm pretty sure the books have a lot of action. So it makes sense. It makes kind of sense.
Yeah. So that's, that's basically it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you still want to read the book?
Now that you said it doesn't have a lot of the humanness of it, I don't know, because that's what I look
I
for
know.
in
Yeah.
books.
And I liked it for how sci-fi it was.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can enjoy those things without it being
Yeah.
right. Like
Yeah.
even if you're reading a comic, like a superhero comic book,
Yeah.
you might not get those deep emotional,
You know,
character
funny that you
development
compare it
stuff.
to that. It's funny that you compare it to that, because I have tried to read superhero comic books and end up not really caring.
Right.
Yeah.
So like because I've read only a few, I can't really say that I've read a lot,
Yeah.
but I read it like that, like just a
Just like that.
superhero type of thing.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah.
But the show adds a lot more to it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can connect more with the characters now.
Yeah.
And so I really I overall, I guess this is our last thoughts on this.
Yes.
Is did I like the show? Yes, I like the show. Should you watch the show? April says yes.
I say yes too. Watch it.
Yeah, you should watch it. Give it a chance.
Yes.
That's
Give it
pretty.
a chance.
Wee,
And then
it's
I
such
might
it.
I might read the first book. I might read the first book.
Yeah, just
sometime.
you'll get a sense of
Yeah.
what it's like.
But also, okay, so I said that, I might not like it, but I do want to know what happens at the end, so that if we do get a second season, because I don't know how the cards are.
I feel like I want to give you one part, but I don't.
Okay.
That's up to you.
Just tell me.
Because this has already happened, and obviously at this point, I don't know where it's gonna go, and they might not even do this part.
Yeah. Why
Okay.
don't you just tell me? Yes.
So for a part of the story is that Aaron meets another like future self, but she is at her age.
Oh.
I think so. She's like either 12, right? Around there. Yeah. So it's very confusing. It's kind of like a clone.
Oh yeah.
But in the future.
Weird.
Yeah, and obviously this part was not added into the show, and that this had already passed. So I don't know if they're still going to add that.
Yeah.
But they just might.
Weird.
Yeah. So that one's it's not too bad of a spoiler, I guess.
No.
Because we really don't know.
No.
And they'll have to do a good job about it too, because imagine two of them in one place.
Yeah, that's weird. Yes, I really hope that they do a season 2, because I have not heard a lot of people talking about this show, and you know what happens when nobody talks about a show, it doesn't get a second season.
And isn't like Brad Pitt, didn't he like support that, or he did something like did he fund this or something?
I have no clue. This is the first time I'm hearing of this.
I feel like I read that.
Okay.
Or I saw him in the credits.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, is a producer.
Ooh, okay.
Huh.
I need more people to talk about it though, because
me too.
Nobody is saying anything.
Yeah.
Of all the people I follow.
Yeah, and I mean it's all written, illustrated, the book by men.
Oh.
So
interesting.
Yeah. So I think that the way that obviously they're talking about younger girls. So and it's a comic book, so and women tend to be kind of overly sexualized. So obviously because they're little, they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that they chose to write girls and such strong girls.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it comes off as anything kind of like, you can't really tell, like it could have been written also as equally
Yes.
by women.
Yes. And do you know who wrote the screenplay?
I have no idea. I want to say that it was maybe the same.
Okay. Because it
Yeah.
felt that scene where they were talking about Aaron's period felt really like a woman either wrote that or they did very good research.
Yeah. And it could have been
Yeah.
that too. I'm not, I don't really know.
Yeah.
But I want to say that they're still in uh that they still played a part
Yeah.
in it too.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's
Cool.
see.
Watch
Producers,
it.
editors, running. No, I can't read enough fast enough. But yes, watch it,
Yes.
please, so that we get a second season.
Yes. We give it 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
Ebert and Rupert.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomatoes, we give it a 99.
It's very high.
Okay, fine, a 95.
Yeah. Oh, and then I guess we can end by explaining our outfits.
Yes. So like I didn't know what to wear, so I just wore purple.
Very nice, very nice. And I'm dressed as KJ. My hockey stick is down here.
Yes, hockey stick. I'm stepping on your hockey stick.
HE, double hockey sticks.
And there's like a lot of paper all around because they're paper girls.
Paper girls.
And how many? Wait, answer this question for me. How many papers did they deliver?
One, the first one, right?
Paper.
To the racist.
I really was very concerned at the beginning because I'm like, what did I just do? I was really concerned because I'm like, they're supposed to be delivering this paper and they're not, and they're gonna get fired.
I think they got more important problems.
Yes, but they're gonna get
Also,
fired.
I thought waking up at 4 or something a.m.
Oh my god.
Heck no.
No, hold on. Waking up at 4 on the day after Halloween.
Hell day.
That does not sound fun.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
It's not fun. I would not be a paper girl.
No, I cannot be a paper girl either.
I need my sleep.
I need a lot of sleep. So wait. In the books, do they go back to being paper girls? Do you want to tell us?
Yes, I want to say yes. I think I remember that. Yes, they do.
Okay.
And that's kind of how it ends.
That's funny.
But yeah. Yeah. So I guess that's it.
That's it. See you next time.
See ya. What on a be ya?
Wouldn't want an alligator. Well, that's see you later, alligator.
See you later, alligator.
I said wouldn't want to be ya, alligator.
Crocodile. Okay.